Hello everyone and welcome to episode 0 of ATA Declassified. Today we're all about fresh starts and origins because we're going to delve into the Assassin's Creed lore archives and extract all the files we have on the origins of the Assassins and of the Templars. We're going to discuss what they had in common and what caused the clash that went on to become a millennial war. All that and more on ATA Declassified. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 0 of Declassified. This is a new podcast by Access the Animus. I'm your host, Marco, and I'm joined here by the one and only Mr. Wayne Davies. Hello, Wayne.
Hello, Marco. Thank you so much for bringing me on to this little venture. It's so exciting. Wow. I'm a minion of ATA. It's a dream come true. Seriously.
Oh. So this is a new podcast that we are trying to produce, and it's going to focus on the lore of the franchise, and we're going to try and have this little adventure on every kind of story element that was provided throughout the franchise, not only in the main games, but also in the extended universe. So we're going to try and look at Facebook games. We're going to look at the comics. We're going to look at sites like Initiates. We're going to try and look at every single release that implied story content. And not just that, we're going to try and look at other features of the game that help in providing the story element to the fan. Right, Wayne?
That's absolutely correct, Marco. And I am going to be joining you and Access the Animus across this fantastic adventure through the bowels of the Animus as we look at all the facets of the stories in the games, the extended lore, comic books, Facebook, as you previously mentioned. And we hope along the way to ask and answer questions that might not be all that friendly within the community. For example, our topic today, which is the origins of the Assassins versus Templar conflict. As we all know, the origins of the Assassins and Templars begin in real history a lot more earlier in more the medieval times. As we know, the Templars were founded based off the protection of Christians during the Crusades, and the Assassini, who are the base foundation inspiration of the Assassins, were there around at the same time. But within the Assassin's Creed lore, when we look further back, the ideas of the Assassins and the Templars were around a lot more earlier, before they were even given the titles of Templars and Assassins. So, for example, the Templars helped King Darius become the king of Persia. And then as we go into even further back, when we look at the Greek and Roman empires and even the ancient Chinese dynasties, we have the involvement of Alexander the Great with the spear. And then we have involvements and moments where the Templars help, I can't pronounce this, save my life, Qin Shi Han. I'm so sorry if I botched that. To help become the first emperor of China. So the footholds of the involvement of the Templars go way, way back, and we assume that the Assassins were around at that same time as well. But to understand how we get to the points where the Templars and the Assassins started getting involved in the historical moments, such as Alexander the Great and Darius the First, we have to go further back to a point in history where the real potential origins of the Assassin versus Templar conflict began.
And starting from that, we ask ourselves, we should start the discussion by going into the origins of the orders. And starting from the origins of the Templars, we can go back once again to Assassin's Creed 2, because in the glyphs we have a lot of information about how the Templars, not exactly were founded, but when the first, mention of the Red Cross Pate was seen. In the glyphs, we can see in glyph 6, we can see the clash between Cain and Abel, and we can see some recorded sentences from chapter 5 of the book of Moses of the Pearl of Great Price, which is a text written by Joseph Smith Jr. It's a Mormon text, and that text describes parts of what Cain did with Abel and the reasons why Cain killed Abel inside the Assassin's Creed lore. So the glyph shows how Cain wasn't the first Templar, but he is associated with the Templar cross. So in the Assassin's Creed Encyclopedia 3.0, there's a mention saying that whether Cain was a Templar or whether he inspired to play an active role in the foundation of the order, it remains to be determined. However, evidence suggests that some Templars of the olden day considered them as children of Cain. So in that regard, Cain could be considered like a symbol over which the Templars were founded and created. And the reason for that is because the glyph shows how Cain killed Abel inside the Assassin's Creed lore for a piece of Eden, for the apple of Eden, and that should be like the first recorded kill for a piece of Eden, and so that's why Cain is like a symbol of the Templars in that regard.
Yeah, but I think the interesting thing is, though, when you look at Cain and Abel and their relation, even in real life, in the real biblical text, in terms of how they have been represented in the Assassin's Creed lore, it's the fact that really, at its core, Cain and Abel, I arguably are a metaphor, a symbol, a foreshadow of the Assassin versus Templar conflict. When we know that Cain kills Abel for a piece of Eden, and when we look at the real scriptures within Genesis, we know that Abel was a shepherd, and we know that Cain was a crop farmer. So when you look at this metaphorically, the crop farmer is about growth and expansion, growing your crops and expanding your wealth and food and trying to be plentiful. Where the shepherd is about protection. A shepherd looks after his flock. Very similar in terms of the assassins, kind of to a degree, a protector of the innocent, a protector of freedom. So really, when you look at it, Cain and Abel, metaphorically, not literally, are really the first Templar and assassin, and the rest of the conflict kind of evolves and spills from that. I'm not saying they don't necessarily go back and are influenced by Cain and Abel, but within the lore,
They're
Cain,
like a symbol.
yeah, like Cain and Abel fighting each other isn't just, oh, the first registered kill or the first registered kill for the piece of
Exactly.
Eden. Really, I think Cain and Abel is really the first fight, the first kill in the name of the Assassin versus Templar conflict before the names even existed.
Well, yes. My idea is that maybe the piece of Eden that Abel possessed was the same that Eve and Adam had from the truth video in Assassin's Creed 2. So maybe Adam and Eve left the apple to Abel so he could protect it from the ones who came before the issue, because they had broken out of Eden, and so maybe while running away from Eden, they left the apple and left. They gave it to Abel so he could protect it, and still keeping the ideals of freeing humans from the issue. And maybe that's where the biblical envy by Cain was started in the AC lore. So maybe Cain, seeing that Adam and Eve trusted Abel with protecting the apple, maybe got him I don't know, angry or stuff, and maybe considering he was much more able, no pun intended, to to manage it and to use it for good reasons, like crops farming, like building stuff, uh, and seeing that Abel wasn't willing to give it. That's why maybe Cain killed Abel. So yes, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see in the future if this part of the plot is going to be explained, because it's part of the origins of the franchise in a way.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point down the line, whether it be in the games or comic books or
Yeah.
novels or even somewhere in the movie, in a later movie down the line, that they will touch upon this, because really it is an intricate but interesting part of the lore. It's not just only the origins, but it's the battle of brothers, and the motif of battling families at war, brothers versus brothers, physical and metaphorical within the assassins, and even fathers versus sons have all been prominent throughout the series. And ones such as Cain and Abel, fair enough, you might not be able to produce an entire game around it, but it's definitely worth the time to look at that area and look at that relationship within cutscenes and certain extra story elements within text and hidden documents. But up until this point now, it's just all theory and speculation. That's all this discussion is. Like, we
Yes.
have no idea. We have no idea how or why Abel got the piece of Eden. All we know is that Cain killed him for it. And
Yes.
beyond that, we can just speculate. But since we know that Abel was like the first assassination, like really the first death in the AC lore and in religious text, we can kind of move on to how that the notion of the shepherd, the protector, and the assassins and the Templars evolved into the origins of the Templar versus assassin conflict. And
Yes.
really, we've already looked at the origins of the Templar. What about the origins of the assassins? What about the second half of this very deadly coin?
Yeah. Well, the origins of the assassins aren't quite clearly defined. They are touched upon many times throughout the franchise. There is a mention in Glyph 14 where it says the hint by subject 16 Clay. He says the seeds were planted when two worlds become one. Behold, the assassins, they are the children of two worlds. And the meaning in this is like the assassins are, the children of the first civilization and the humans. And while this applies to every human and all the descendants of the first humans, the meaning of this glyph is that the abilities that the assassins have developed, they originate from this the union. Like the assassins are an example of the hybrids that were generated by this kind of union. And we have another mention in the Abstergo files from the Assassin's Creed Revelation multiplayer, and which says that it's written on the point of view of the Templars, but it says, some say we were once brothers. Some even believe that once we shared the same ideals, the same dreams, and the same hopes for humanity. That may be true, but if we once had a common purpose with the assassins, it was long ago. This means that the assassins and the Templars, while they may have had different origins, they shared ideals. And especially there's a sentence by Otzoberg in Assassin's Creed Rogue. He said that in the distant past, the assassins had a noble goal, that of peace. But over the centuries, the goal eroded into a far more dangerous one, which is freedom. So we can assume that the assassins, while they were, let's say, cooperating with the Templars, they both had a goal which was peace and not freedom. We can also speculate that maybe the Templars and the assassins were part of a whole, like a single order or organization in general, with
Yeah.
different names, because in Syndicate there's a sentence by Rebecca saying something like, if we know that the Assassins and Templars didn't have this name before, before the Middle Ages, because there were organizations that had different names throughout time, how were they called, and why did they have this sort of common origin? And it's something that is, I think it's very compelling. This part of the plot that hasn't been really described into detail, but there are several other conversations throughout the entire franchise saying that in the beginning the Assassins and the Templars cooperated in a way. So we don't know exactly if they were like two orders that started separately from the beginning, or maybe they were like a sort of coalition, sort of a single order.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it would be bold, but there's a lot of evidence to support it, suggesting that somewhere going way, way back before the Crusades, before the origins of the Templar and the Assassini names, that the orders of the Assassins and the Templars as we know them now were one in the same. They were part of the same organization. They were part of one core order, potentially. I mean, when you look at some of the scripture, when it within the multiplayer glyphs, and it says, "Oh, we were once brothers." Now, when you look at the term brothers and how that is used within the Assassin's Creed lore and within the games, brothers like the Assassin Brotherhood, they are working together and they are one and the same. They are part of the same
Yes.
group. And I think that the use of the word brothers is a deliberate choice within that particular piece of text in Assassin's Creed Revelations multiplayer. And yeah, I mean, imagine it. Well, what if the Assassins and Templars were really one? Once upon a time, years ago, they were part of the same organization and that they strived for the same thing, but ultimately somewhere along the lines there was a splinter there was a conflict of interest in it, and it splintered off, and a group didn't really like the way the main order was kind of going about things, so they kind of splintered off, and ultimately the two factions, as it were, kind of inserted themselves within the real Knights Templar and within the real Assassini, and kind of became what we know them as today.
Yeah.
And I like that because again, it's been said throughout history. The assassins had a far more sensible goal, the lack of that of peace, and then they were once brothers. And yeah, I mean, how cool would that be? The bombshell of, oh, the assassins and Templars once upon a time were the same, and at some point they had a conflict of interest. They didn't like what was happening, or one group didn't like what was happening. Potentially the assassins, and then they went off, and the two orders as we know them evolved from there.
Yeah, it would be so cool to see this, this discussion, this event in which, if this all were to be true, if there were this single order, it would be so cool to see the discussion where some of the members of this order are, maybe they are tempted to go the old ways of, if Cain was the symbol of this single order. It would be cool to see some members of the order saying that they want to go the way that Cain taught them, in a way, and other members of the same order saying that that would prevaricate the freedom of other people. So it would be cool to see this sort of separation between the members of this order, and another way to represent the origins of the conflict, seeing where and when that happened and for which original reasons. It would be so cool to see it, even in a cutscene. I'm sure a lot of fans would love to see it, especially
Yeah.
the long one, the hardcore ones.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. I mean, really, like when you look, well, the Assassins and Templars, it's been presented constantly throughout the games. They are two sides of the same coin. They both have goals and ideals that they believe in, and roughly they're the same to a
Yes,
degree. They just go different ways about them, and really at this point within the AC lore, like we've always been led to believe that, like from the game perspective and the lore perspective, like the assassins are the good guys. And well, what are the Templars in all of this? You know, like
yeah,
there's no real good or bad guy or real good or bad organization within this conflict and within the games. I mean, the assassins, as given by their name, they obviously kill a lot of people, and the
yes,
Templars kind of will do the same, but more on a more industrial scale, where the assassins kind of kill individual people to stop things from happening and try and change things and tweak things. The Templars have a more grand, opious scale
exactly.
of
Yes,
causing, of manipulating things to get what they want, and so yeah, they really are one in the same when you dig deep into it, to the point where, like we've just been discussing, and we're kind of saying the exact same thing over and over. They could potentially at one point be one in the same order, like one in the same group, that trying to help history roll on and go and move. But
exactly.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, go on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, both the orders have the objective of making life for humans better in a way or another. So while the Templars, even in the modern day, they're trying to, they're working for the betterment of humanity, and in the Assassins don't want them to go in their directions, but both the orders, well, now they're not just working towards peace. Maybe the Templars are more working towards peace, even if it's an imposed peace. Um, while the assassins are now believing that the peace may be reached through freedom, so through the freedom of mind and ideas. It would be cool to see in the beginning how the orders wanted to reach peace, and what the original intentions of the orders, or of the single order, what those intentions were, and why this did this single order, why was it created in the first place. It would be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easy. I think it's easy to speculate that at some point along the lines, that if this were true and the Assassins and Templars were one in the same at one point, and they were part of the same order, um, maybe it's safe to assume that they were either one carrying on the will of Cain, of like Cain and Abel potentially,
Yes.
and using them as an influence, or maybe that they were, the order was kind of born out of necessity from the world and the history. I mean, like even if you
Yes.
look at the Knights Templar, the real Knights Templar, for example, they were created by the crown, like
Yes.
the king, as protectors of the Holy Land. And so potentially that they could have an official creation state, and they were
Yes.
created by some governing body to kind
Yes.
of manipulate, and well, not necessarily manipulate, but shepherd the world
Yes. Exactly.
behind the scenes, and help shepherd the world behind the scenes. But somewhere there was a conflict where one side thought, well, why shepherd when we can full on manipulate and control it rather than shepherd it? So there you go. Again, it goes back to Cain and Abel. Why
Once
shepherd
again.
something when you can have direct influence and change it the way you want and grow it the way you want?
Exactly. Exactly. That's another reason why the clash between Cain and Abel may be like a symbol of the orders, and what may have happened later.
Yeah.
Uh, That's why Cain and Abel may be the symbols of the assassin and Templar ideals.
At the
And
end of the day, I think we can all just go blame Cain and Abel for it all.
yeah,
I think,
exactly. It's all their fault.
yeah, it's all their fault. God damn you two, brothers at war, killing each other. Look at all the carnage you've caused. And no,
Yeah.
uh, but at the end of the day, I think we can all happily say that we still have no real idea of what is going on within the origins and that far back within the AC lore. We have lots of bits and pieces, a lot of jigsaw pieces that we, the fans, love to put together, and we try and create our own pieces and try and put them in to make it sound interesting and flesh out the world ourselves. But we know the rough origins of the Templars, we know the rough origins of the Assassins, but how Cain and Abel's conflict arose and ended, and how that potentially influenced the evolution of the Assassins and Templars in the future, and how they were to potentially not before that they were potentially one and the same before conflicting and having becoming the Assassin versus Templars. We just don't really know. Again, it's all speculation, it's all fun, it's all fan fiction, it's all theory. But I'm sure that eventually Ubisoft, please, we beg you, fill in the gaps.
Please.
Give us these little stories. Give us these little bits and nuggets of information, and because it is all interesting. I don't know about you, Marco, but
Yeah.
all this stuff I would love to see in some kind of 30-minute short film,
Yeah.
like
I would love to see it. Like
something
from
like Embers, like
yeah.
a 20-30 minute CGI film like Embers, where it fills in a lot of these gaps, particularly between Cain and Abel.
Yes, that would the hardcore fans would go crazy over that. Like people like us would write a lot of articles and a lot of there would be a lot of discussions over the forums over Reddit. I think it would be a nice move by Ubisoft, and a lot of fans are like waiting for this because, as usual, if you hint at something, then you have to show it later on at some point.
Yeah, but I think what Ubisoft does well is as the writing and like Darby and the entire writing team, that they're masters at leaving breadcrumbs. That
Yeah.
they're masters at just leaving a little nugget, a little bit, a little tease, and then watching the community tear itself apart through
Yeah.
fan theories, and give them credit. It's a lot of fun, and you just know the likes of Darby are sitting back, rubbing their hands, like evil laughs,
Yes.
maniacal laughs, going ah ha ha. They have no idea, because obviously the likes of Darby and the rest of the writing team kind of know obviously what all these gaps, what all these gaps represent, and what is really going on.
Yes.
Because you have to kind of fill in that backstory to help make the stories they're telling seem logical.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to theorize. But I would love to see something like the Cain and Abel conflict, and potentially some of the origins of the Assassin versus Templar conflict within a CGI movie, a 30-minute CGI movie like Embers, or within the games, within the future games, maybe something in 2017, we don't know. But imagine the imagery though. Imagine seeing the first civilization world with Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, like within CGI form. Like within that truth video in Assassin's Creed 2, it looked beautiful. It looked brilliant. Even within it God, was it
The,
Syndicate where you saw the was it Syndicate or Unity? Oh, I forgot. Where you
uh,
saw the destruction of the city.
the destruction of the city was in the AC Revelations finale.
Was it in Revelations finale?
Yes, there was the catastrophe.
Oh no, like the destruction of the first civilization city after the solar flare hit.
After the solar flare, yes, that was in the Revelations finale. The catastrophe and the solar flare destroying the city and all the people running away.
That was in Revelations?
Yes.
Oh, I thought there was something else.
With the so cool track, Labored and Lost.
Hmm.
The soundtrack that was so cool.
God knows why I thought it was later.
Because it's cool and you would like to see it more. And so you would expect it to be recent, so that they can build upon it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was in fucking. Yeah, it was in Revelations. Like that sequence is fantastic.
Yes, that
I absolutely adore that sequence, and to be honest, that's probably why I think it's so modern or so current because I just love it that much.
yeah,
Like
exactly. It's
that score. Oh my god, that score.
the score is
Oh,
fantastic. Labored and Lost. Because Tinia said you must go there where we labored and lost, and that's
yeah.
why the track is called like that, and that's why Desmond has to go there. It's
Here's a question for you: is it me, or has the score for Assassin's Creed, like the soundtrack, gotten a little bit shit?
uh, um, it has gone. Yeah, I think it's less strong and less emotional than it was in the past. I wouldn't
I'm just,
say it's
yeah.
bad because I still like tracks from AC4 and some from Unity. I didn't feel like the Unity one was strong, was likable too much because it didn't have like a recurring theme throughout the game that it
Yeah.
didn't get in your head. While the
Personally,
Syndicate one,
I just miss a big theme. I just miss a big, hard-hitting, epic, energetic theme.
oh,
Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 4. I miss those themes. You
yeah.
know,
I loved the soundtrack from AC3. The one by Lauren Balfe was, I believe, it was the best one because it was strong, it was emotional, it was able to convey the feelings of the characters.
well, it wasn't even that though. I think like the AC theme, the AC3 main theme.
Yeah.
It like listening to it, like obviously if you remove like some of the sound effects like potentially some of the sound effects which kind of reference or relate to that time period. Like I mean,
Yes. Yes.
like just the melody. It's like it's such a fucking good melody,
Yes.
and it's sickening that they don't reuse it. And I've noticed how that they've kind of slowly pushed Ezio's family theme back
Yes.
in.
They're
They've
they're
kind of
making it like it's the Assassin's Creed theme in general.
yeah, that they've shoehorned that back in now.
Yeah, but I don't like it because it makes every theme for a game not have its identity in a way. Because
No,
it
yeah,
has a
like
part dedicated to Ezio, and it sounds far from, I don't know, a game like Syndicate. Why should you have Ezio's family in the theme?
well, I don't think there's anything wrong with having like the melody.
Mm.
I like the idea of having the same melody that transcends the franchise, or like
Mm.
the few same melodies that transcend the franchise. Um, so that it all kind of fits musically and thematically.
Yes.
And then obviously the theme changes a little bit based on the era. Like I think the best example is Assassin's Creed China, where you have the Ezio theme, the
It,
Ezio's family theme, but it's very Oriental,
yes.
and I like that. I like the idea of taking a theme and recalibrating it
Yes.
for that particular era. But when
But
you've
it
got
in China, I liked it because there was a relation or a connection between Xiao Jun and Ezio in a way. It feels strange to me to have the Ezio theme, for example, in the Unity theme. because Ezio and Arno don't have anything to share. So I understand their move, because having like a theme that is recognizable throughout all the AC releases, it makes even the audio recognizable for the general fan.
Yeah.
It feels strange to have, though, at least for me as a hardcore fan, it feels strange to have the Ezio theme or the Ezio's family theme, which I absolutely love, to have it in contexts that are not connected in any way with Ezio's story. It's just that.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's like here's the clincher though. I mean, like I've got nothing wrong with the Ezio family theme being used. I like it. Again, it fits thematically. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever watched it, but Batman the animated series
um,
uh,
I'm not
from
sure.
from the 90s. Well, if anyone
The
who's
one from
listening
the
to
90s,
this,
yes, I think
yeah,
I have. Yes.
with Kevin Conroy, and if the people who are listening to this, that they might also feel the same, where it's like you had that like you had that melody. And then later on in the as the cartoons progressed into Batman Beyond and then the Justice League, every once in a while, just as a overwhelmingly powerful and cool moment when Bruce Wayne or Batman would step up to the mark and be awesome, you would hear an iteration of that theme. And again, it's a lot of fan service, but
Yes.
and like reusing the Ezio theme is great fan service. Again, like you, I love that theme, but I just find it disheartening when you've got the Assassin's Creed theme, which is great, and the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag theme, which is, excuse me, which is great, and they're not reused. I can understand why the Black Flag theme isn't reused, because that feels very specific to that era.
Mm.
But the Assassin's Creed 3 theme, that the fast-paced melody, it's almost like Ezio Venice Rooftop,
Yes.
where it's just that momentum and that pacing. It transcends the era the games are set, and I would love to see the Assassin's Creed theme come back in future titles, but altered like the Ezio theme to fit that era, just because the AC3 theme is so energetic, it's so adventurous, it's so fun,
Mm.
while it's
Yes.
dark and scary,
Yes.
with the timbre. The pacing of it is fast paced and energetic, while the timbre of it is dark, scary, and mysterious. And personally, if I had to choose one track which kind of sums up the Assassins and the Assassin's Creed and everything in general, I would choose the AC3 theme, simply because it's dark, it's mysterious, it's fast, it's energetic, and it feels assassiny. Whereas Ezio's family, it feels more harmonious,
Yes.
and more melodic, and it fits Ezio's character specifically,
Yeah.
more than the Assassin's Creed 3 theme does. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. I do agree. Like, Ezio's family is a wonderful theme song describing Ezio, and especially his his first years. So it was strong enough back then to be also the track representing AC2 as a game. And if I remember correctly, it was used even in the credits for Brotherhood, or maybe wrong. But yeah, I'm not sure if it represents the assassins. I mean, it's if you have to choose the song that is mostly remembered by the general AC fan, it's a nice choice.
Yeah, it
I
really
believe
is.
it's the one of the most known and famous tracks of the AC franchise in general. But if you want to represent the assassins, yes, maybe that AC3, the AC3 one may represent them better. And yes, in general and throughout history, that would be, I believe, a better representations of the assassins.
But even then, the Assassin's Creed theme is a remake of the Assassin's Creed Revelations theme. Let's not forget that, because like we have the it is a remake. You've got that same melody, and I'm not going to sing it because I sound horrible at singing. But like the AC Revelations melody is all over Assassin's Creed 3. So as part of the main theme, it's just been remade.
A part of that, yes, just yeah, a part.
Yeah, so even then, AC3's theme is a remix of the AC Revelations theme. So it has been done, taking those iconic themes and reusing them
Yes,
for other
yes,
stuff.
yes, and yes, I do like in general when they reference past games or past environments through the soundtracks. I did like, for example, when in AC3 they're using the first Civ tracks from Revelations, and I did like when they used again tracks like Liberty and Lost, and they used it in other first Civ environments. For example, Labor and Lost, I think it was used in Chronicles India when Arbat is running through the first Civ temple while it's crumbling down.
Yeah.
And I like when they do this kind of reference. They reference a person or an organization or an environment, and that I do like. It feels like I said a bit stranger when trying to identify the entire series with the track when you haven't done it for like 5 or 6 games before.
Yeah, I think to wrap this up, I think
Yeah.
as we go forward into 2017 with whatever game is around the corner, and considering this gap within the annualization of Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft are really committing to changing a lot of things within
Yes.
the franchise. So I think the music is also a good factor to change. Restart the music from the ground up and potentially come up with a new theme that can transcend every game, to one degree or another. So you
Yes.
have the Assassin's Creed symbol, which transcends every game. Now let's have some music to accompany it.
Yes.
Some classic scores. You hear it throughout all through films, all the Star Wars films where you
Yeah.
hear subtle changes and subtle remixes and
Yes.
alt versions of the same track, and you know the duh, 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 is the score of the Empire,
Yes.
and it's a bit cheesy, but it's fun at the same
Yes.
way, and I would love to see Assassin's Creed do that and have some core themes and some brand new core themes and core melodies that represent the assassins, the Templars, the first civilization,
Yes.
the influence of the first will, and all these different factions and all these different aspects of characters throughout the series going forward.
Yes, it would be nice. The thing is, series like Star Wars, they established the main theme from the beginning, and that's what felt strange to me. The Assassin's Creed series from the beginning, it had like every chapter, every main game had its own theme. And there wasn't an Assassin's Creed general theme from the beginning, and it happened like after with Unity and Rogue, if I'm not mistaken. That's where they started to try and use a single theme, trying to describe the entire franchise. That's why it feels strange to me. I believe maybe going on, if they keep using it, Ezio's family, it will become sort of like the defining track of the series. It just felt strange that it was like a change of direction. It's not like the games don't have their own main theme. It's just that the main theme contains a reference to Ezio's family. So it's okay in a way. It just feels strange to me. But maybe in the future they're going to, if the new game is going to not to be a reboot, but to be rebuilt from the ground up. While keeping the same story and stuff like that, maybe they're going to define new starting parameters like the track, and maybe new defining techniques like the new gameplay features and graphics and stuff like that. So, and hopefully that won't be like AC3 and Unity having this year in between. It should give the developers the chance to recreate something new without having the issues at launch that every 2 games now we're having.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, only time will tell, and we
Yes.
will see what they come up with next year in 2017.
Yes. So Wayne, I was thinking about the movie, the Assassin's Creed movie, and I was I was wondering, what's your updated opinion about it after everything that has been, said and shown and discussed about it recently?
Uh, touch and go, touch and go. At this point, I wished there was a trailer publicly. At the point of recording this, we have not seen the trailer publicly. Odds are they might hold that off until E3, but they have shown the trailer at CineCon, I believe it was.
CinemaCon 2016.
Yes,
Oh,
and
sorry.
Fox showed that to the likes of investors, and there was like a pre-taped message from the cast and crew, Michael Fassbender, pre-recorded message, and they showed the trailer, and from what I've heard, it sounds fantastic. Like it sounds so good, and it sounds like they've really taken the core foundations of the Assassin's Creed, such as obviously the history, the idea of the Animus, the parkour, and the action, and the modern day versus history, and really done something special with it. And yeah,
Yeah, I like the idea that from some of the opinions of the people, like the journalists that went to CinemaCon, I like the idea that all of these movie journalists liked the trailer for the movie, even if movies about games have a really horrible reputation. So I'm even crossing my fingers even more right now.
yeah, like we still have to be apprehensive,
Yeah.
like the not necessarily because it's it's an Assassin's Creed movie, but again, as you say, the stigma that video game movies have, and the likes of World of Warcraft and Assassin's Creed this year have the major potential of changing the tide on that, and making video game movies viable. I mean, it kind of goes back, it kind of mirrors comic book movies, where comic book movies a good few years ago before Bryan Singer did X-Men were not viable products. Like you had
Yeah.
a few hits such as Richard Donner's, Dick Donner's Superman and Tim Burton's Batman,
Yes.
but everything else in between, trying to build on that momentum, was just dog turd really at the end of
Yeah.
the day. And it wasn't until Bryan Singer came with X-Men, and then you've got the likes of David Goyer with Blade around that same time, kind of showed the world going, oh, you do realize that all this bright, colorful, kiddie stuff in comic books can make for some deep, interesting storytelling. And with a bit of luck, Warcraft and Assassin's Creed can crack that code now and tailor for video game fans and a wider audience. And as far as tailing to the fans without bogging it down too much, and make it accessible to a wider audience, I think the idea of the way they've presented the Animus in Assassin's Creed is really interesting. Like
Yeah.
during all the previews, as they talked about the trailer, the most interesting thing that caught my attention was what they've done with the Animus, where they've really updated it and really made it visually striking. I mean, like, let's face it, in the video games, the Animus doesn't really need to be all that impressive to look at because it's just a bed or a chair
Yes,
or
exactly.
a basic interface. But with a movie, you need something that's going to be visually striking to look at. And then when you're in the past, and then if you cut back to the modern day, you can see something happening rather than just lying on a bed.
Yes.
So the idea of this big arm coming down and grabbing the user and then like suspending them in like a virtual, in like a suspended VR setup
Yes.
sounds really cool.
I think I read that Callum Lynch's body moves the way in which Aguilar moves in the memory. I think I did. I hope I'm not mistaken, but I like the idea. Even though I'm still having questions about how that can be placed in the Assassin's Creed universe. Like, why would Abstergo build like a mechanical arm Animus instead of the more practical, bed or chair?
I think the bed, um, if there is a narrative reason for it, I'm all game,
Yeah,
But honestly, I think it's just from a visual aesthetic. Like I just previously said, in the video games, you just need the character line on the bed. Like you don't really need anything to be visually
yeah,
interesting. Whereas in a movie, you need something more visually appealing. You need something that looks cool
yeah,
and something that looks like wow, like what the hell. And like I can imagine like you'll see moments when like in the trailer they discussed towards the end of the trailer you see Aguila or Aguila. I cannot pronounce the ancestor's name to save my life. I will get it once the movie's been announced and I hear the ancestor's name. That'll be it set in stone. But um, when you see that they say that you see the ancestor running and then he goes into a leap of faith right at the end for the trailer and uh, first off that sounds like a great way to end the
yes,
trailer, to be honest with you. The leap of faith is a very is one of the iconic staples of the franchise. If you are going to have a trailer end of Assassin's Creed, it has to be a leap of faith. It can't be beaten in
yes.
my mind.
I totally agree. And it's easy even to imagine it, even if we haven't seen it yet. You can picture it clearly in your mind how it's happening and how the trailer is ending just by someone saying that the trailer ends with the leap of faith.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine, if you will, in the film, you see the ancestor running across the rooftop, and then it cuts to the modern day, and then you see Callum in the suspended Animus VR rig, and he's also running, and then it cuts back to the ancestor. He does the leap of faith off the building, a beautiful wide shot. It looks awesome. It goes into a bit of a slow-mo. You hear the eagle roar, just a beautifully iconic Assassin's Creed moment, and then it cuts back to the modern day, and then you see Callum Lynch doing the same pose, like the same
Yeah.
spread out like eagle pose in the Animus, and then that looks cool. And it just all brings it together, and it's visually striking, it's visually
Yes.
appealing. And I like the idea of seeing Callum Lynch in the Animus doing stuff rather than just lying on the bed. Yeah, he's down, boring.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand that from a movie standpoint, and from a movie fan standpoint. It's much more dynamic
Yeah,
as it's a much more dynamic imagery, and I like even the idea of what they want to do with Column, because spoilers or not spoilers, depending on if the trailer is out by the time this podcast the podcast is out. But Callum Lynch is officially executed via an injection, and then Abstergo gets him, and there's Marion Cotillard telling him that he's officially dead, but he's not. So he will be used for the Abstergo experiments. I like the idea because it ties in a way with even right now it ties with the syndicate files. There's a mention by Alvaro Grammatica. That he says that one of his ideas is to get DNA samples from people in jail or in prisons, and so one way or another, it already ties into the lore because Callum Leach is abducted, and I can't wait to see how the story of the movie fits in the entire universe, because it should be very important even for what is going to happen in 2017 in the games. I can't picture a game that in the future that doesn't take into account what the movie will talk about, considering how major of a release it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And for just from the way that the movie will transcend with the game and back and forth, imagine throwing this out there. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. But what if in 2017, when the next Assassin's Creed comes out, we actually have the arm, the Animus
Ah,
arm, as the new Animus system?
it would be
You
a
know,
nice connection between the movie and the games, especially if there is a purpose for this kind of animus in the games.
maybe the main protagonist, or if there is a main
Yes,
protagonist, might not use the arm, but I have a suspicion at the very least, if we do go into Abstergo
an
at
Easter egg.
some point, yeah, there will be, like, say, but do you remember in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood when they're escaping, and then when at the beginning when Desmond and Lucy are escaping, and then they look over and you see all the
Yeah,
the
yeah, of
Animus
course.
machines. Probably something like that, some kind of room like that where you could see a lot of these arms, a lot of these rigs, and potentially have some of them moving with people in them. I don't know. I just think that the idea and the design of an arm rig, a suspended VR arm rig like that, is just so cool, and it fits really
It's
well. As
modern. It's
yeah,
really updated with the real present day, like with the VR, all the VR stuff that is happening right now. So
exactly. So I would love to see that in the future games, or at least in the 2017 game as a reference. But as far as the story, the narrative structure of the Assassin's Creed movie goes, as you said, the film will probably start off with Callum in prison. He's on death row, and we get moments of him doodling away. He's
yes.
having images. He's seeing images and flashbacks. Maybe not full on bleeding effect, but there is something wrong with him.
Mm.
And people start to notice. Abstergo gets wind of it. They come and interview him. They come and talk to him, possibly. And then he goes for his execution. It's all faked. They fake his death. In the execution, he's officially considered dead. Abstergo take him, bring him to the facility, and then the main chunk of the movie will unfold. And then possibly as we go towards the end of the movie, we may get something similar to the towards the later end of Assassin's Creed 1, when
Yes.
potentially the assassins may try and storm the Abstergo building to get him out
Yeah.
of there.
I,
And we might actually see it this time. We might actually see a group of like maybe 4 or 5 elite modern day assassins trying to infiltrate the building to get Callum out of there.
it would be
Possibly.
really, really interesting. I can't wait to see when the modern day assassins will come in place, like when they're going to appear in the game, and especially why. because he's at least up until now and what we know, he's just a person who is in jail and is will be executed. So he's an inmate that has a death trial, but I don't picture that in the beginning the assassins know about him in any way. So I wonder how the assassins will catch wind about him and get to know about him and how is important. But yeah, I can't wait to see the assassins try to get him back.
I got a feeling there'll be a sequel as well. I
Yeah,
mean, like we had those reports not too long ago about Fassbender being on board for a sequel, and the producers are on board and all the rest of it. And a few people went, "Oh, that they're a bit full of themselves, aren't they? Like starting work on a sequel." But that's kind of how the movies industry works. Like when you're building up. And when you put a lot of money in a big production like Assassin's Creed or any other big feature film, whether it be comic books, video games, or so on, you often prepare to go, right, if this is a hit, we're going to do a sequel. And I got a feeling AC might make enough money to do a sequel. If they market the film right, I reckon it'll definitely put butts in seats and it'll make a lot of money.
yeah,
And I got a feeling they will do a sequel in the future. But let's get through the first movie first.
yes,
But at the end of the day, even though I am very, very nervous about the video game adaptation reception of this movie, I'm still gonna go watch it. And simply based on
mm,
the ideas of what they're doing with the Animus arm, the trailer ends with a leap of faith. It sounds exactly what I've been wanting to see
yeah,
in an Assassin's Creed movie. A lot of people had issues with Batman versus Superman, but I'm a big Batman and Superman fan. And those moments in the BVS movie, I really enjoyed, despite all of its flaws. So pretty much the same thing is probably going to happen with the Assassin's Creed movie. It may have a lot of flaws with it, but I'm probably still going to enjoy it because Assassin's Creed is a franchise that I've been following since the very end. I've wanted
yeah,
to see a movie for just as long, and you know what? We're finally getting it, and I'm getting all fanboyed out about
yeah.
it, and I'm really looking forward to it. Even if it's going to be a big piece of rubbish, even if it completely flops at the box office, I'm going to be happy knowing that they did a movie, they tried, and I can watch it and I can enjoy what's in there,
Yeah. I
So
I
bring it
agree.
on.
I agree, and the good thing, at least up to now, is the premises about the movies about the movie are good. Like the reception, the way in which the movie journalists, so not just the fans, but the movie journalists are liking what they're seeing, and even if the marketing hasn't really started the like a strong campaign yet, but there are some good premises which weren't there for the other game movies back then.
Yeah.
So there are some tiny motivations up to now to believe that the movie may be good, even now. So and this kind of feeling of not being certain if the movie is going to be bad or good, instead of being sure that it's going to be bad, it's something different, at least for me, while waiting for a movie about a game. Because for almost all the other movies about games, I never had any kind of expectations. And well, of course, this is about Assassin's Creed, so it's different. But I never felt any kind of expectation about the other game movies. So
Yeah.
there is some serious hype growing. Uh, we'll have to see the next moves in the campaign, and hopefully they should happen in few days or in a few weeks.
Exactly.
But
I think to wrap this up, at
yeah,
the end of the day, even if you remove the idea that it's based off a video game, you've still got the likes of Michael Fassbender as the lead. He's
yeah,
producing. You've got a fantastic director like Justin Kurzel who did Macbeth, which is a phenomenal film. And
yes,
if you want an idea of what the AC movie just might be like in terms of its historical aesthetic, watch Macbeth. It's a really good movie, and with the caliber of director and actor like Michael Fassbender and supporting actors such as Jeremy Irons, then you've
yeah,
got producers like Frank Marshall and Pat Crowley, I believe the name is. You know, yeah, the caliber of people in this movie can't be ignored.
yeah,
So I have high hopes. Again, still trepidatious about it being a video game adaptation, but I have high hopes for the movie. And let's just get the trailer. Give us the
yeah.
trailer.
Give
I
it,
don't want to wait.
give us the trailer.
I don't want to wait until E3. Don't make me wait till E3, please. Whether it be Fox or Ubisoft Motion Pictures, whoever's pulling the strings, just stop. The trailer's already out there. People have seen it at CineCon. People are reporting on it. People want to see it. Just show it. If
Yeah,
if Ubisoft are really trying to hold it back and trying to get a big pop or reaction out of E3. No,
no,
don't bother. I mean, at E3, you've got the potential of Watch Dogs 2 being announced, and you've got Ghost Recon Wildlands there at E3. There's no real need to show the AC movie there.
yeah. I would say the
Although
same.
I can see the reason why they would show it, because they might not have anything else Assassin's Creed related at E3, but just get out of the way. You know, Stop torturing. It's like a kid with an ant farm. Burn, you boggers, burn. It's like, just stop. Just show the trailer, get out of the way, and let the fanboys like myself and Marco, and then the rest of the AC community and the rest of the cinema-going audience, just let us see the trailer, make our own opinions, make our own speculations, and let us just chew at the bit for this movie
Don't make us
already.
suffer. Don't make us
Yeah.
suffer.
But yeah, that's my take on the AC movie.
Yeah. And that was our take on at least up to now. So we'll
Up to
probably
now.
we'll probably have more opinions when the trailer is out. Hopefully
Soon.
soon.
And that is all the time we have for you right now. Thank you so much for watching this first episode, this pilot of ATA Declassified. Please give us your feedback in the comments below. It will mean everything to us. We really want this series, this show, this program to go forward, and we want to make it better, and we want to make it more fun, and we want to try a lot of new ideas with it, stuff that we as content creators haven't tried before. So we really want to do a lot of experimentation, and you guys give us the feedback and give us ideas and how you think we've done for this first episode. Over the course of this episode, we've talked about the origins of the Assassin versus Templar conflict. We've talked a little bit about the themes and scores of the Assassin's Creed games, and we've wrapped up with discussions about the AC movie. I'm Wayne Davies, 89, and Marco, thank you so much for having me.
Well, actually, thank you, Wayne, for being part of this. I think it was a nice pilot. And like Wayne said, let us know what you think about the podcast, how it can be improved in your opinion. We really are interested in what you have to say. And I think that's it for today. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and be safe, assassins. Peace.
Bye.